Well, there's a protest that's been undertaken by members of the Indian Youth Congress. It's a Sansad Gherao protest, and we can now see a scuffle between members of the police and also the protesters. There you have it. Some people trying to climb barricades are being lifted on the shoulder by fellow protesters, and the police is, of course, trying to prevent them and prevent this protest from escalating even further. Now, these are members of the Indian Youth Congress who are protesting, presumably, the suspensions of more than 100 members of parliament. And there you can see the scuffle with the members of the police as we speak. Let me go across to Rishabh, who's at the location where these protests are taking place. Yes, Rishabh, take us through what's happening.
Well, definitely you can see huge gathering of Indian Youth Congress now trying to march toward the parliament. And where we are standing, we are hardly 200 meters from one of the entries of the new parliament. This is the Raisina Road. We are just in front of National Media Center in New Delhi, and where we are right now, it is hardly 200 meters from one of the entries of parliament. And you can see the protesters now trying to push the police officials here who are here to stop them. You can see the human chain from the police and CRPF had been broken, and the protesters are now marching toward the barricading. My camera person Vivek is showing you how the Indian Congress protesters are now trying to breach the barricading. Ambulances as well as water cannon are in place here. The police is adamant that at no cost the protesters would be allowed to march any further. You can see how the protesters and police, including the CRPF, is now trying to stop the protesters. The protesters wearing black and carrying black balloons, black balloons, are trying to march toward the parliament. You can see on our screens right now that how the protesters have now climbed the barricades that have been put in front of the parliament. Remember, I'll ask my camera person to show the water cannons are in place, the ambulances are in place, the buses are in place to detain, and the protesters are now trying to breach the barricades. Few of them have already jumped on the other side of barricading. You can see on our screens that how the Youth Congress members, including women volunteers of the Youth Congress, are now on the barricade, trying to breach the barricade, moving towards the parliament, and the police trying their best to ensure that no further movement of the protesters be allowed. On your screen, Siddharth, you can see that how the protesters carrying the black balloon also trying to move toward the parliament. This after 146 opposition MPs were suspended for creating quote-unquote rakas inside the house in the new parliament, both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. 146 MPs have been suspended, and in protest of that, this Sansad Gherao has been called by Indian Youth Congress. You can see the protesters now on the barricades trying to move further, police pushing them back on the other side. You can see on the screens right now the flags of Indian Youth Congress, the black balloons, the volunteers now jumping toward the police, breaching the barricade. You can see the police now going in, trying to stop. You can see here how this ruckus has taken place. The protesters now trying their level best to breach the barricade, and one after another jumping on the police officials. They are being detained. Whoever is breaching the barricade is being detained by the police officials here. No one allowed to cross the barricade. Whoever is going toward the police, whoever is jumping over the barricade is being detained. A number of protesters have now been detained, is what we can tell our viewers. And you can see how police is right now struggling to ensure senior leaders like Nasir Hussain, Alka Lamba, Abhishek Dutt, and others are part of the protest, and the youth workers of Congress, the Indian Youth Congress, are now trying to push the police establishment here and jump the barricade to march toward the parliament. Remember, this happens just a week after the parliament security was breached and 4 protesters entered the parliament. You can see now the people being detained here, people being detained by like police here that who were trying to cross over from the barricading. The police now trying to ensure that no one crosses this barricade. One after another, the youth workers are being detained here. Let's try and talk to a few of them and understand how what they are wanted. You can see the black balloons have been released in air now by the workers here. The way protesters are, there have been a lot of Sansad Gherao, but we haven't seen this enthusiasm among the workers in past few years. The way now they're ready to get detained, they want to breach this barricading as much as possible. One after another, you can see the scuffles between the protesters and police here at Raisina Road, for that matter, Raisina Road that leads to one of the entries of the new parliament, just next to the National Media Center and Indian Youth Congress office. This scuffle is taking place. The protesters trying to move towards the new parliament while the police in turn is trying to stop them. Let's try and talk to a few of them and understand what they want from this protesters. Let me go in and try and speak to a few of them. Sir, आप लोग अंदर सर आप यहाँ पे हैं आप यहाँ पे हैं यूथ कांग्रेस का हुडी पहन के हैं, क्या कहना चाहेंगे आप? क्या कहना चाहेंगे आप? ఇంగ్లీష్ హిందీ
తెలుగు ఈరోజు కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వం నరేంద్ర మోడీ గారు ఈ ఎంపీలను సస్పెండ్ చేయడం వల్ల మేము ఈ రోజు సంసద్ గిరావ్ అనే ప్రోగ్రామ్ ను నిర్ణయించడానికి జాతీయ యువజన కాంగ్రెస్ నరేంద్ర మోడీని గద్దెదించేదాకా యువజన కాంగ్రెస్ పనిచేస్తూనే ఉంటుందని ఈ సభాముఖంగా తెలియజేస్తున్నాం. ఇట్లాంటి పోలీసులను పెట్టి మా యువజన కాంగ్రెస్ ను ఆపలేరు. ఖచ్చితంగా పార్లమెంట్ ముట్టడి చేసి నరేంద్ర మోడీకి తగిన బుద్ధి చెప్తామని.
So that was Rishabh, of course, speaking to several protesters belonging to the Indian Youth Congress who are questioning the decision of both the Lok Sabha Speaker as well as the Rajya Sabha Chairman to collectively suspend more than 140 members of the opposition from the proceedings of the winter session. One such protester that Rishabh was speaking to hailed from the state of Andhra Pradesh and was speaking in Telugu as well, and was basically saying that the Youth Congress stands in solidarity with the suspended members of Parliament. They've demanded a withdrawal or a reversal of the decision on the part of both the Lok Sabha Speaker and the Rajya Sabha Chairman to suspend more than 141 members of Parliament belonging to the opposition. We'll continue our coverage of the